I'm guessing you're stressed. I know I'm stressed. I think we're pretty stressed. So let's talk about 4 different ways, 4 different perspectives I have on dealing with stress, managing, contending with, wrestling with freaking stress, because we've all got it. First one, sticking in line with the old Indiana Jones themes we got going on, treat stress like a compass. Too often, we want to hit the ejector seats when we get that first sign of stress. We want to hit the alcohol or the YouTube or the doom scrolling of any kind, or maybe we hit our more positive coping skills like working out or talking with friends or something like that. But we try to escape it so quickly, but it's not an alarm, it's not like a fire alarm. That's not the better way to think about it. I believe the better way to think about it is a compass. There's a lot of information, there's a lot of important insight you can get if you sit with and question and dive deeper into your stress. So, kind of sitting with it rather than escaping it, you can ask, what's the deeper story? What's the narrative or expectation that's tied to this stress, that's kind of anchored to it? Because I do think that stress holds valuable information. Just like in Indiana Jones, you got to go into the deeper, darker parts of the jungle, right? You got to go through the traps and deal with the stress itself. You have to manage that to get to the treasure, whatever that may be, whatever insight that will come from wrestling with it. So that's the first one, is treat it like a compass. Dive deeper. Look at, where is this coming from? Why am I stressed? And you can do that kind of, there's this ultimate meanings technique where you can ask why, write in your journal, answer that as thoroughly as you can, then ask why to that. And then answer as thoroughly and as honestly as you can and ask why to that. And you can really, without having to go talk to anybody or see a therapist or do any of that, you can dive deep on your own. It's pretty helpful. Next one. This is a huge one for kind of our day and age, our society, but also just for me personally. It's the busyness kind of intensity trap that we fall into, or the productivity lies that we fall into, where, I'll speak for myself, kind of place an illusion of significance over how busy and intense my schedule is, or how much kind of the notifications are popping off, how busy the calendar is, all that kind of stuff. But this overstimulation does not actually buy or mean importance of any kind. And we're not meant for that kind of constant acceleration, but I think we all, especially, money is not just readily available these days. We're all trying to make it. We're all trying to scrape and hustle and side hustle and this and that. We're all trying to do so much to like survive and get by, and we do want to thrive and we want to make things happen for the people we love. But that productivity trap, that hedonic treadmill, is that what they call it? The cool kids? Hedonic treadmill? That is not a fun place to be, and that is a stress inducer. Kind of, instead of this productivity go mindset that I was stuck in for a very long time in my life, I've kind of come to see it, I've come to manage it in terms of seasons. And this is the piece of advice you can take from this. It's that there's kind of a season for building, a season for recovery, a season for reflection, and a season for uncertainty. And this one's big. We often don't give ourselves that one. A season of uncertainty. We're like, it's so hot, I'm not wearing this. Or you're like, I don't know what I want. I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing. I don't know what the right answer is, or what I should be doing. And in those moments, we panic and we want to go back into productivity, or at least I do. It's like, well, if I'm making things happen, if I'm making book sales, if I'm doing this, if I'm pushing the numbers up, then I've got to be doing the right thing. No. Sometimes you need that recovery. Sometimes you need the reflection. Maybe you're on the wrong path. Sometimes you need the uncertainty. You need to afford yourself time to just be confused wanderer. And that's okay. So don't fall into the productivity trap. Challenge the productivity trap. Get off that hedonic treadmill. That's the second piece of advice I've got for you. Now, stress. It is such an important thing to be contending with and looking at. And I'm going to tell you why from a physiological standpoint. Let's take a break here to look at some of the effects stress has on your body. I just wrote a few down. Look it up yourself. You will see a list far longer than this. Elevated heart rate, like higher blood pressure, muscle tension. People break their teeth trying to like gnaw through their stress. Headaches, fatigue, sleep issues, digestive problems, weakened immune system, acne, oily skin, eczema flare-ups, dark eyes, puffiness, dry skin, wrinkles, accelerated aging. All of these are no good. That brings us to the sponsor of today's video, Tiege Hanley. Guys, clearly stress has an effect on your skin. This is why having a good skincare routine is imperative to reverse those effects. But setting up a good skincare routine can be very stressful in and of itself, and then you're in a catch-22. There are so many products, there are so many different companies. How do I know what does what and which ones to use when? Tiege Hanley, they take all of the complication out of it. They send you everything that you would need, like the eyes cream for those under eye bags, the super serum to tighten up those wrinkles, the retinol, look into that. One of my favorites is the retinol stick, AM and PM scrubs, and more. They send it just right to your door as you need it, as much as you need, and you'll get that with the link in the description or the pinned comment for 40% off your first purchase and a free gift worth over $20. This deal is fantastic. They are fantastic. Thank you, Tiege Hanley, for sponsoring this video and for what you're doing to help with my skin. I appreciate it. Now back to the video. The third one I have here is to build a center of gravity. Because if we put our sense of self or our identity or our validation in these external things, like money or praise or relationships or our status or our productivity, then that is what I call a shaky base. And it is a terrible foundation to build yourself up from. You're going to be treated like, a stockbroker in Wall Street. It's going to be this. And that's going to be your sense of self? No, thanks. You got to build something better. So, because life is terrifying. This is the other point I wrote down. I don't want to skip it. Life is terrifying when this stuff, the money, the validation, the productivity, when that stuff is the one walking the tightrope, right? It's a cool line. I don't want to skip it. But like when that's the stuff going on the tightrope, terrifying. You need to build things that come from within. The stuff that's really rooted in something real that is not going to be so shakable. This is where I always talk about a values-driven life, or having routines, or being in love with the craftsmanship of things, right? I'm a writer, and if I just look at the sales and I want to push that direction, that's this. But if I just enjoy my process, I enjoy what I'm doing, I like being creative, it's like play, then I can kind of fall in love with that, and nothing can shake that from me. All the money in the world, no money at all, doesn't matter. It's the same process, right? It's a same thing. Discipline, your faith. These are the things that you need to look at as far as what is your center of gravity? What is that home base? What is the foundation from which you can build yourself off of that isn't so external, that isn't waving with the wind, that isn't changing like this, that isn't going to leave you just stressed and constantly trying to pull it back to your will. Number 4, and final one, is reduce the unnecessary self-friction. So what I did is I was just looking at myself and how so often when I'm stressed out, I realize I do it to myself. I shoot myself in the foot. I cause there to be these issues that do not need to be there. And I wrote down a few examples. One is, this is the biggest one for me too, delaying obvious or easy decisions. Like stuff I just know I need to do and I know how to do it, but I'm just like, yeah, I'll get to that. I'm not worried about it. And then you don't worry about it, and you don't worry about it until you have to worry about it. And now it's too late. Now it's a big thing, and it's a whole issue. So procrastination, essentially, right? With those little things, those little tasks. Next one is consuming toxic stuff. Now, of course, this can mean drinking alcohol or eating junk food, right? Eating the stuff we know is not good for us. But also, I talk about content diet a lot. If you know that this kind of content stresses you out or messes with your sleep or gives you, a fear of being out in public, don't consume so much of it. Like I had to cut myself out from certain media back in the day because I was a very paranoid guy, thinking there was going to be an attack. Criminal activity was just waiting to pounce. And I had to chill out with like how much true crime stuff I was watching because it's not good for me. I don't react well to it. So it's that kind of stuff. Next one would be saying yes, but meaning no. How often do you do that and put yourself in a pickle and you cause all of this extra stress on top of everything else because you are now having to, how do I finagle out of this situation? I don't want to hurt their feelings, but I don't want to do that. And you just bind yourself by your inability to say what you mean and mean what you say. The next would be playing the comparison game. That's never fun. That's never beneficial. Especially with the social media aspect of it, we don't know the real truth of anything. It's just the highlights. We've heard that. But it's also a very curated state, right? On my social media, what works for my algorithm on Instagram and stuff is like the khaki, what I'm wearing now, like this kind of adventure vibe. That does really well. Any other side of my personality, not going to do well. So I have to kind of feed in one portion of who I am. So even when, like, that is something real about me, that is me, but it's one little tiny aspect. So even the people that you think you know, you might only know this much, right? You don't know the full picture. You don't know the full understanding of someone else's life. Life is too intricate in art, and you're looking at one little speck of paint. Don't get all caught up in the comparisons. Next is ignoring the exhaustion until your body literally demands payment. You need to get better at getting that alarm bell of like, you know what? I'm pretty run down. I need to chill. And jumping off of that productivity train for a second and saying it's okay to rest and reset. I need this time. And it's not wasted time. It is actually going to be the most beneficial thing, the most productive thing I can do is nothing and recharge. With a long weekend coming up for a lot of us, maybe you will get that chance. I hope you do. And I hope you guys enjoyed the video and got something from it. Thank you so much. And thank you again to Tiege Hanley for sponsoring the video. I will see you guys in the next one.